Welcome to the Croft Nostalgia Festival, the 8th time this event has taken place, and in 2017 captivated 1940s to 1970s. Plenty for people to see. Away from the racing, we shall look forward to the first of 4 historic Formula Ford races. This will be rounds 7 and 8 of the 2017 championship, and this is the heat for round 7. It'll be Max Bartel that starts on pole position. There he is in the Lancaster Insurance Merlin Mark 20, getting ready for this race. And alongside him on the front row will be Sam Mitchell, 2 former race winners in the category, then having to go through this qualification race. The first 26 cars graduated to the race later on. So those are the 2 drivers we expect to be up front. Starting third is Neil Schinner, the former Caterham driver. Had a good run in qualifying this morning. Will start third for this heat, the fastest of the over 50s category. Ed Thurston, the youngest driver on the grid, will start next. He's in the best of the non-Merlins. He's in an Eldon. And next up is Stuart Kestenbaum, the very experienced Formula Ford driver, and he's Crosley. And then Pertti Kaviri in the only Cavanti, the Finnish driver in the Finnish manufactured car. David Wild up next. He returns to the series, first race this year in the Neil Fowler Motorsport Lola. Then you've got Rob Smith, another former Caterham driver, up next, and another of the Neil Fowler cars. That is Robert Tusting. Ross Dryburgh will complete the top 10. The Titan of Andrew Wiggins is up next in the classic Team Merlin machine of Jeff Underwood. John Hayes Harlow, he's back out in the Merlin Mark 11. There's Louis Handel, one of the Mark 8 Motorsport Eldon drivers. Another of the Neil Fowler cars. That's James Lovett. There's the Macon, that's Roy Suersu. The capacity grid expected for this qualification race. There's Dick Dixon, one of the people behind the championship. He's in his Lotus. Yes, as I was saying. The capacity grid, 32 cars expected, although Kevin Stanzel's car won't be out there after problems in qualifying this morning. So we show 31 cars, and I said a top 26 graduating to the race later on. We've already seen 6 cars qualify, those being Callum Grant, Michael O'Brien, Richard Tarling, as well as Ben Tilley, James Buckton and Ben Tusting. There's Roger Arnold getting ready for this qualification race. Stuart Dix. We've got Rachel Arnold up next before John Emery and Nick Arden and Les Beard, who will complete the grid. This is the first of 4 races at Croft. Let's confirm how those cars will start then after the 2 qualifying sessions this morning, all merged into one. The top 6 already into the championship race later on. It'll be Max Bartel and Sam Mitchell on the front row of this race, with Neil Schinner and Ed Thurston behind them. We've got Kestenbaum, Kaviri, Wild, Smith, Tusting and Dryburgh completing the top 10. No Kevin Stanzel from 11th, so it'll be Andrew Wiggins there next. So 31 cars are due to start this race. 20 minutes as always for the historic Formula Ford Championship in 2017. Another great entry here at Croft, despite having the Silverstone Classic just last week. The cars then head into the grid, getting their last bit of warmth into the tyres. This very quick circuit, but we've already got a car that's pulled off. That's John Hayes Harlow, I think, so it doesn't look like he'll be making the start. The rest of the field there are ready, and it's a great crowd to watch this race too. They are lining up in the grandstand to see the start, which gets underway now then. So 20 minutes is underway. Which of the Red Merlins will lead into Clairvaux for the first time? Well, Max Bartel it is, and Sam Mitchell there just stuck in underneath him. They turn into the first corner. Ed Thurston has got himself ahead of Neil Schinner, and the rest of the field then flow through the corner. There's a lock-up in the mid-pack. There's a spinner. There's another car that's collecting. That's Mike Wales that has gone around. Alan Cook involved in that as well. and Roger Arnold has looped around, so 3 cars off at the start. A big slide out the chicane from a couple of cars. I think that was David Wilde and Ross Dryber getting crossed up. We're on board with Rob Smith, and Robert Tusting is making the most of that. He's coming past Smith. He's come on the inside of Dryber as well as they head down in towards Tower then. And yes, Tusting has gone through as they slot their way through the right-hander at Tower. There's Wales and Cook. They're still down there at Clairvaux, so the marshals will have to sort that out. There's some side-by-side action heading into the Jim Clark S's. We're on board with Jeff Underwood, and going round the outside was Roy Sierstu. And that Macon. They're heading down now in towards Sunny. They're running their way back up towards the complex for the completion of the first lap. And there are the leaders, Bartel and Mitchell, on nose to tail. They are getting away from Neil Shinner already. There's an even bigger gap back to Percy Kaviri, who's 4th. Then Stuart Kestenbaum leads David Wilde and Robert Tusting. Some side-by-side action there as Stephen Greenwood coming around the outside of Jeff Underwood. More side-by-side action. That was Donald Laird and John Roberts. But the leaders exit the hairpin and completed the first lap. And down towards Clairvaux they go once again. Neil Shinner trying to go with them. He's certainly pulling away from the rest of the pack. It's Kaviri there, as we mentioned, in 4th. Is there going to be any challenges down into this first corner? Not the easiest places to overtake. It's a quick corner coming off a long acceleration zone. There's some side-by-side action there as Dick Dixon tries to work his way around the outside. We can now ride on board with John Roberts as we enter the chicane, and you may have noticed we lost a car out the front group on that last lap. That is Ed Thurston. He was parked there on the left-hand side of the circuit at the chicane, so he's out the race, but Roberts has gained a place on the run down towards Tower Bend. He's past Donald Laird. There's some side-by-side action up ahead. That looks to me like Stuart Dick going around the outside of Dick Dixon, and it looks like he's made it work, so he's coming through in the Cooper. And yes, he slops his way ahead to ride on board for the first time this season with the number 41 car. That being Paul Unsworth. He's trying to gain a place as well. He's in the Palliser. And yes, down the inside in towards Sunny. He goes up ahead, I think, of that was of Donald Laird. He's lost 2 places on this lap. The leader's back into the complex, so Max Bartel still leading the way. Ross Dryber, and he's got himself up ahead of Rob Smith. Still, but that was a close battle. There's Stephen Greenwood. Like he's got himself ahead of the Macon of Sierstu. Here come the leaders then. Bartel and Mitchell are nose to tail through Clairvaux. So of course just a race to qualify for the championship race later on, so no risk you wouldn't expect to be taken from the pair. Both former winners this year. Both former winners in this category before, and Sam Mitchell, a former winner this year. He won at Brands Hatch last time out, in fact. Stuart Dix there gaining another place. I think it was James Lovett he got ahead. He's making his way through the field well. Good progress from Dix. Now Rob Smith, though, coming around the outside into Tower Bend. Percy Kaviri had pulled off the circuit as well, so the driver who was 4th place is out of it. And round the outside of Ross Dryber has gone Rob Smith to gain the place. Rob Smith in one of the Jerry Wainwright Motorsport prepared cars. The Arnolds have got themselves together. That's Rachel being closed by her father, Roger, who spun there on the first lap. So they will turn their way through Hawthorne Bend, the fast right-hander, with Rachel still ahead as they head into the chicane. Careful not to clobber those tyre stacks. Now run out the corner for Roger, so he's going to come up alongside Rachel into the braking zone for Tower Bend. And we can now ride on board with Rachel as the 2 Arnolds switch positions down the inside for Roger into Tower Bend. He's slid out a bit wide though, but he's carried the momentum through the corner to stay ahead. And it's side by side for the lead as Sam Mitchell comes around the outside of Max Bartel into the complex, but he couldn't find a way through, so it continues to be Bartel leading, but he has to defend into the hairpin that concludes the lap here at Croft. There's Andrew Wiggins clinging on to that second group of cars. He's having a great race. Got a good gap back to Louis Handel, who's ahead of Jeff Underwood, and then Stephen Greenwood. A lock-up, though, from the next car through, and that was Stuart Dix. There's Paul Unsworth, who we ran on board with earlier. He's got Donald Laird and Martin Haynes behind him. Let's do it, Kestenbaum, he's fourth, he turns into Clairvaux ahead of David Wild. We've got Robert Tusting sideways to Rob Smith, and then we had Driver and Wiggins through. Gap back to Louis Handel, who's being chased by Jeff Underwood. We've got Greenwood and Dix, and then Tiersu ahead of the next pack of cars. Dusto out of the chicane as somebody's put two wheels over the grass, and that, I think that was Stuart Kestenbaum. He's losing momentum down the straight, down towards Tower. He's lost a place to David Wild. Robert Tusting coming past him now, as is Rob Smith. Or Smith is attempting to. He's coming round the outside into Tower, but the tighter inside line for Kestenbaum keeps him ahead, but he's lost 2 places there from going wide at the chicane. Now down towards the Jim Clark S's. This fantastically quick part of the circuit, with some runoff, not huge amounts of it, as is a big factor around here at Croft. Pretty small runoff, despite being the very quick circuit. And that's Tusting and Kestenbaum almost running side by side through Sunny. Now it's the run up towards the complex. Rob Smith looking to see if he can find a way through here. Not quite. They turn through the left-handed element, and hard on the brakes into the right-handed section of that part of track. Then up into the hairpin. Kestenbaum challenging there, but unable to find a way through. Very slow corner, of course, the hairpin. Then you run this long run down towards Clairvaux. That's where the leaders are, Bartel and Mitchell. They're already in traffic. So Neil Shinner will have to deal with that in towards Hawthorne. It's Nick Arden who he laps there. Here is the battle behind then. So it is Robert Tusting and Kestenbaum, Smith, Driver and Wiggins. Wiggins having one of his strongest races to date through Hawthorne. It's a great corner this is. The fast right-hander that leads you up towards the chicane. We're on board with Rob Smith. Stuart Kestenbaum sideways out of the corner there, so he doesn't have the greatest run down towards Tower again. And this time Rob Smith will pass him. He goes through then, up towards Tower they go. Hard on the brakes. So it's Robert Tusting is Rob Smith's next target. He's coming through the field nicely. It's Smith side by side in towards Clairvaux. That's Stuart Dix hopping past Jeff Underwood. He hopped over the curb there on the inside of the circuit. So Stuart Dix has come through very well because he's qualified quite poorly, but he's come through the field nicely. He's already about halfway up the order. So that's a good run from him, but the slipstream now coming into play for Jeff Underwood as he closes in on Stuart Dix up towards Tower, but the Cooper just about stays ahead. They're the leaders through the complex. Bartel still ahead of Mitchell. They've lapped the Nike now of Les Beards. Neil Shinner will have to do that shortly. He continues to run third. So up across the line to complete the lap come the leaders. Bartel with a few car lengths now over Stan Mitchell. Bartel also racing in his Alva this weekend in the Guard Trophy. He's sharing that car with Sam's brother Ben. There's Robert Tusting then still ahead of Rob Smith. They've had to lap that Nick Arden machine. Louis Handel will have to deal with that in a moment. And he's got Stuart Dix closing in on him. And you've got Jeff Underwood, Greenwood, Tiersu, Lovett, Nelson and Dixon. A little bit of a moment there for Phil Nelson, I think. It's into Clairvaux, the Edward Smith right now on the tail of Robert Tusting. Well, Striber's had Andrew Wiggins all over the back of him, and them two cars now very close indeed heading through Hawthorne. The Nick Arden car being lapped by some more runners. There's James Lovett going down the inside of him, and he goes through. Down towards the Jim Clark S. Is in traffic now for Robert Tusting. He squeezes past on the inside. Rob Smith does the same. Just about enough room there. An awkward place though to catch the slower cars. Into Clairvaux for Sam Mitchell, the new race leader. So a change up front. Mitchell ahead of Bartel now. Bartel throws his car through Hawthorne. He chases back after Mitchell. In towards the complex. There's Andrew Wiggins right on the tail of Ross Driver. We're looking back from Driver's car. And down the inside into the hairpin from Wiggins to gain the place. The dive there to gain the position for Wiggins. There's Shinner in third. Here's the battle for fourth backwards, and it's David Wild. Up ahead of Robert Tusting, he's got Rob Smith right on his tail, heading into Clairvaux once more. Then you've got Wiggins, who's also got the better of Stuart Kestenbaum. And there's Ross Dryborough. And side by side behind as well as Stuart Dix goes past Louis Handel, clips that curve which traps the car sideways, but he keeps ahead of Handel then. And they're all side by side action. This is Phil Nelson and Dick Dixon. They run side by side all the way up towards Hawthorn. Dixon trying to go round the outside here, but it's a long way around the outside of Hawthorn because the right-hander just keeps on going, but it's still alongside into the chicane, but that's a one-line corner, so he backs out of it. Rachel Arnold turns her way through the S's, and Sam Mitchell having to use all the runoff area there to go around the outside. First, Sam Mitchell dives down the inside as they go through Barcroft, now down towards Sunny. It's still Sam Mitchell that leads, but the traffic here can become a factor. You saw Sam Mitchell had to go off the circuit there to get past. Especially through these faster corners, the leaders carrying much more speed than some of the slower cars. Louis Handel has Jeff Underwood right behind him, heading out of Sunny. Stuart Dix is pulling away from them. And now in the slipstream, coming up alongside is Underwood. He's on alongside Handel into the braking zone for the first part of the complex, and he goes through up on the inside. They've pulled a gap out now to the Macon of Searcy, Lovett and Greenwood now, who's dropped back, but a challenge up front. This is Rob Smith coming around the outside for fifth place to get the better of Robert Tusting. Around the outside there into Clairvaux, that's a strong move. Driver trying to chase after Kestenbaum. Next through there's Stuart Dix. He's already getting away from the Underwood and Handel battle. And yeah, Sue Lovett, Greenwood in the BT. Gap back to Dick Dixon, who has got the better of Phil Nelson now. He goes a bit deep into Clairvaux. He is in the Hawk. They're the leaders then, turning their way through the complex, and it's Max Bartel now back ahead of Sam Mitchell. They turn their way through the hairpin and now accelerate out onto the start and finish straight, where Mitchell is in the slipstream up towards Clairvaux. He closes right back onto the tail of Bartel. They are nose to tail as they turn into the right-hander at Hawthorns. They've got more traffic to deal with. We said this would be a factor. And into the chicane, that's an awkward place to catch a slower car, but they both go through. Now Rob Smith has got himself ahead of Robert Tustin, as we saw, and now it's coming onto terms with David Wild. So he's passed one of the Neil Fowler cars, and now he's chasing the second. A tighter line is taken from Smith, so he tries to get on the accelerator quicker, but as all the cars bunch up there, that is a hard thing to do. That is why going down towards Clairvaux is a difficult place to pass, but the slipstream now coming into effect. He's getting onto the tail of David Wild as they go now onto the brakes for Clairvaux, so he isn't able to find a way through there. And a short dash down in towards Hawthorns, over the curbs for Smith. In one of the Jerry Wainwright prepared Merlins. And now great run through the chicane from Smith. He's on the tail. He's put into the left-hand side of the circuit to get ahead of David Wild. The two cars will run side by side now down towards Tower Bend. But Rob Smith has come through the field nicely in this race, and now he goes round the outside of Wild to gain the position. So up into fourth place, that is, for Rob Smith. A bit further back in towards the complex, we're on board with John Roberts, who's getting himself onto the tail of Phil Nelson's Hawk. Down into the hairpin, the left-hander, much more wider line taken by Roberts to try and get on the accelerator quicker out of the hairpin. We're back on board with Rachel Arnold, who into Sunny waves the faster cars through, letting them know where she's going to position her car and which side they should go. So good driving from her. There's a whole bunch of cars, isn't it, that comes through. So that 6-car battle for fourth place, being led by Rob Smith. So they head down in towards the complex now and can continue their battle without being impeded. And one of the cars has run out wide there. That's Robert Tusting. He's out-braked himself into the complex. He's out over the grass and he's lost himself a whole host of positions and a lot of time. So a mistake there from Tusting. So let's have a look at how that has affected that battle. Well, it's Rob Smith in fourth, and now Andrew Wiggins has passed David Wild up into Clairvaux. So Wild's down to sixth. Kestenbaum is next, and then Dryborough. They turn their way through Hawthorn, so into fifth position for Andrew Wiggins, who's having a great run here. And here is the battle involving Stuart Dix and Jeff Underwood. So Underwood coming back to Dix. in their battle, the Cooper and the Merlin. Then we've got Louis Handel is the next car through Clairvaux. There's Stephen Greenwood, he's in the BT, number 67. Paul Unsworth we can ride on board with down into Sunny. There are the leaders, they are still nose to tail. Max Bartel and Sam Mitchell having this race-long battle to see who will start in 7th position for the championship race later on. I'm sure both Mitchell and Bartel would have liked to start in higher than that, but that's the situation they are in, and they are battling hard, aren't they, through the complex. There they go. Number 40, that's Mitchell, chasing Bartel up towards the hairpin. The Stuart Dix and Jeff Underwood battle heading down towards Sunny, and too late on the brake for Dix means he runs out wide. Jeff Underwood gets himself alongside in the middle of the Sunny complex. Through Sunny out they go. Dix carries the speed around the outside in the Cooper and will stay ahead. Another corner coming up, the left-hander out of the complex, and the inside line for Dix then does mean that he does stay ahead. But this is a good battle going into the final stages of this one. Roger Arnold about to be lapped by the big battle for 4th place, and Ross Driver goes around the outside of Stuart Kestenbaum and he goes through there, so a good move from Driver to gain a position. John Roberts is right on the tail of Phil Nelson through the complex now. The Hawk ahead still though of Roberts and Merlin. The hairpin. Riding out wide though for Roberts, and up ahead of them round the outside of Louis Handel goes the Macon of Kyosu, and he goes through. Meanwhile Roberts has Dick Dixon coming down the inside into Clairvaux, and Dixon gains a position, so he's obviously had a moment. He was ahead of these two when we last saw him. And he's coming back through the field again. Remember, these drivers all trying to qualify for the race later on, and the higher they are up the order means higher they start on the grid later. Jeff Underwood is right on the tail still of Stuart Dix, so their battle looks like it's going to go right to the end of this one. They turn their way though into the Jim Clark S's. Dix staying ahead though. Here are the leaders, Bartel and Mitchell. So Max Bartel still ahead. And their way through Clairvaux again then. Break down in towards Hawthorne, flick their car into that right-hander. Here's the battle of 4th. Andrew Wiggins getting right onto turn with Rob Smith now. He's lost a bit of time out of the hairpin, hasn't he? So David Wild is right there to pounce. So the 3-car battle before turn their way through. Then they get back to Ross Driver, who's ahead of Stuart Kestenbaum, which we saw he gained that place on the last lap. There's Dixon Underwood. And then 3 wide behind as there's lapping of cars that are lapping them. That all got a bit tight, and it still is as they turn into the hairpin. Who's going to gain out of this then? Well, try and work that out. I think it might be Royce Yersey that lost out, but they're side by side up ahead as Jeff Underwood goes down the inside of Stuart Dix. So he gains the position. He finally made that work. Then it's Louis Handel next, then Yersey, then Lovett. So that's how they've ended up. Lovett dipping 2 wheels into the gravel. Here are the leaders. This could well be the last lap of the race. So heading into the hairpin for the final time. Sam Mitchell trying everything to get ahead of Max Bartel, but he went in a bit deep, I think, into the hairpin. Let's see if the flag is waved this time. Yes, it is. So Max Bartel wins the first of 4 historic Formula Ford races at the Croft Nostalgia Festival. 2nd place goes to Sam Mitchell behind Max Bartel. It's all on though between Dix and Underwood. They go side by side in the tower. Dix went into the inside, ran out a bit wide, but he's still got the inside line now then, heading down into the Jim Clark S's. The 2 cars run side by side there, but the Cooper of Dix goes through and once more. 3rd place, across the line comes Neil Shinney. Had a lonely race, but a strong race there to get in 3rd place. Here's the battle for 4th. This has been one of the stars of the race. Rob Smith wins that battle. Andrew Wiggins, a fantastic drive from him to finish 5th. The Dixon Underwood battle going right to the end. This has been another star battle of the race and goes right to the end. And who's going to come out on top? It's Stuart Dix. He beats Jeff Underwood. Battles to the line. We got Phil Nelson, Dick Dixon and John Roberts. Dixon keeping the outside line there to head of Roberts, but they've got back markers to deal with before the end. Let's ride on board with Roberts to the end of the race. He runs out wide, so it's going to be between Nelson and Dixon as they lap those slower cars up across the line. Let's take a look at the results then. It was Max Bartel that won by 3/4 of a second over Sam Mitchell. They were over 20 seconds clear of Neil Shinner, who beat Rob Smith, all Merlin's top 4. So Andrew Wiggins, the best non-Merlin, in 5th. David Wilde was up next, ahead of Ross Drybrough and Stuart Kestenbaum. Robert Tustin dropped to 9th after that spin. Stuart Dix completed the top 10 ahead of Jeff Underwood. Louis Handel and Stephen Greenwood were up next, ahead of Royce Yerzu. James Lovett, Phil Nelson, Dick Dix and John Roberts all completing the cars that finished on the lead lap. Then Martin Haynes, who got ahead of Donald Laird and Paul Unsworth before the end. Then the Arnolds, ahead of John Emery, Les Beards and Nick Arden, the 26 finishers. So therefore being the 26 cars that graduate to the race later on this afternoon for championship points. There are the two drivers then that starred up front, Max Bartel and Sam Mitchell, who will start on row 4 for the race later on. Martin Haynes there, he got ahead of Donald Laird before the end. See too much of their battle, unfortunately, though. There's the next car through will be Neil Shinner, who finished 3rd, ahead of one of our onboard camera cars being Rob Smith. Andrew Wiggins, driver of the race for me, came in 5th place, working his way through the order in that second group of cars. His best performance to date in the championship. Stuart Dix and Jeff Underwood, they had a great battle that was good to watch, to finish in 10th position. Then Roger Arnold had to work his way through after the spin on the first lap. Look forward to the race later on today. 4 points, round 7 of the championship.